Hello folks and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party and let's try Journey of a Roach. It is by Daedalic Entertainment. Hopefully I pronounced that right. You'd think I would, given how many good games they've made. Also Kobold Games. It's $14.99 on Steam. It's available for PC and Mac. There is controller support. Also, it has Steam achievements and Steam trading cards if you are into that. We're going to actually hop right in. This is a game that I had already saved because I figured it wouldn't really help you much to watch me run around trying to solve puzzles. So I'll blow through the puzzles pretty quickly, but again, keep in mind I've already done these. So this is a point-and-click adventure game. However, you can move your characters with the WASD keys or the cursor keys. And because you are a cockroach, you can walk on the walls and the ceilings, or some walls and some ceilings. And hopefully I'll remember to get to that here in a bit. So the question is, why are you a cockroach? The answer to that is I'm not quite sure. There's no dialogue in this game. Everything is spoken via speech bubbles, which give you some kind of graphic indication of what characters are trying to convey to you. So it's a bit interesting in that aspect. Let's go ahead and do this. So this dancer here is dancing and she has a light bulb in her hair, which apparently she doesn't notice that I take, or she just doesn't care. Which, as you can imagine, in an adventure game, we are going to be using here shortly. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what the story is. Basically, you and a friend cockroach were out in what appears to be post-apocalyptic world, and you find a flower, which is actually in good shape, which is impressive considering the the craters and the desolation of everything around it. And you're kind of following these guys on adventure again. I'm not quite sure where they're going, but we've gotten separated from our buddy. He's actually gotten captured by some ants, we find out in just a bit. Not sure if actually you know that just yet. There are various different insects. I think that's supposed to be a rat. What's really interesting is when I first heard about this game, I assumed you'd be a cockroach and you'd be running around and all the world would be like human-sized. But the world that you are in is actually cockroach-sized. However, it still has the feeling of post-apocalyptic because people are using items, makeshift items. For example, she's standing on the top of an overturned old-fashioned tub to do her dancing routine. So it's really interesting combination, again, given that you are a cockroach. So you do have an inventory, which any point-and-click adventure game is going to have. You also have a map of your current location. You can also click on the cinematics, and it will show you the cinematics from early on. In fact, let's go ahead and look at the beginning if we can. I don't know if we can. So this is actually after the guy who apparently gets into a lot of trouble because he's got a broken arm and a bandage and all that. As you can see, the one on the right's a little bit doesn't quite understand how flowers work. I think he wants to have it as a pet. But yes, he's the one who actually starts off, but you play the other character because, again, he kind of fell down and etc, etc. So we're about, given how fast you can defeat puzzles, we're about 45 minutes in. So, all right, we got the light bulb. I should have stayed in here, actually. So we're going to go up here, and I'll talk to some of the characters so you can, again, see the example of dialogue, how it works in this game, since again there is no text. So we're going to put this in here because this was broken. Now, one of the big problems with this game is that it has a lot of the trappings of typical old school adventure games. Let me show you a great example because I was stuck on this for quite some time. So you have these three guys on this table. Well, guys, this is like a roly-poly. That's a wasp or something. I don't know what this dude is. So you talk to him, and he wants a candy bar. Okay, well, I've got candy. Let's give him candy. So basically what's going on here is we're going to play the ball in a cup game, but not the one with the ball goes in the cup with a string, and it's okay if you drop it out because the ball is on a string and you can just put it back in the cup. But basically, it's the shell game with cups. So you tell him you want to play. Don't bother watching where the ball goes, because it doesn't matter. No matter which one you click, you will always lose. Unless I've had the worst luck in the world, pretty sure you just cannot win unless you do these other things to distract them. In this case, it's showing a picture of a truck. Well, I have a remote control. Now, this is why I was confused, because, okay, I'll use the remote control on the truck. And you can see he gets distracted, but I can't do anything during this cutscene. I can't do anything. So I don't see what that did for me, and I'll just click a cup, and of course, it won't have anything in it. So I tried multiple variations. I tried clicking and operating the truck first, and getting him distracted, and I could not figure out how to get him to do anything. You can do the same thing with this guy here, I believe. Actually, I have not tried it with him. It might not matter. Now, behind him, there's a picture of a three-headed monkey. Why there's a picture of a three-headed monkey, I don't know. But you go, oh my god, look, a three-headed monkey right behind you. He looks, and now while he's distracted, you can check the cups. And oh, I can see that this one has the ball in it. So wait for him to turn around and go, oh, I want this one. And what do you know? I win. And now we get this cutscene. I'm assuming these are army ants or Nazi ants. Maybe both. So apparently, ants in this world are complete dicks, is what I'm picking up. So they've destroyed the piano, and now these guys will not play the shell game anymore, because you can see on the table here they each have an item. We've already got the peg leg from the pirate guy, but they won't play again without the music. They also stole my chocolate, which I can just steal it right back. But of course they've busted the piano. But oh, look at this! Inside the piano, for whatever reason, there's a map. Now, if you talk to this guy, Rat. You can see apparently the ants stole his map. Treasure map, I'm guessing. Even though he looks kind of like a hobo. No offense to any hobos out there. So now we got his map back. Let's go ahead and give this to him. He opens that gate behind him somehow without looking at it and then crawls out. Now before you could see this glass jar but you couldn't grab it. I don't understand why. I mean, he was just in the way. But you can crawl around on the walls and the ceiling, so I don't quite understand why you couldn't just grab it. One thing I will say is, and I'm kind of doing this to demonstrate, sorry if it's making any of you queasy, but some of the walking around walls, when you have to do it frequently, like if you, well, I can't crawl over pipes. If you have to do it frequently, that might be a little bit jarring for some folks. It might make some of you motion sickness if you have kind of a weaker stomach, especially when you're crawling around in vents. It can be a problem. Or if you're just trying to get somewhere and you keep doing this number, you accidentally keep flipping it back and forth. So, and as I'm trying to get my bearings. So now we have remote control, a peg leg, thing of chocolate, and a jar. Now this guy, he doesn't like the ants. You just know that, and then you can read his diary. The animation style, the quote-unquote dialogue, voice acting, what do you want to call it, is interesting. I will say sometimes it can get a little annoying when the cockroaches are talking back and forth. It can be a little irritating, but for the most part, it's cute, I suppose is the term. But you can see there from his diary that he had his coat stolen by those dirty, dirty ants. So this guy, we've had to do a bunch of stuff to get him over here. This is a lightning bug. What we're going to do is grab this boa. We're going to use this jar to capture him, which I don't even know how that works. But if you don't grab it fast enough, he will actually pop right back out, which for some reason he doesn't want to be in that jar. Especially considering how small it is, I guess I can't blame him. But we'll take the boa, wrap him up, put him in our pocket, even though, again, he was pretty big, so I don't know how that was working. Now, at this point, I was kind of thinking, well, how do I get the music back? Because the piano was trashed, as you can see. But this lightning bug, you find out, is actually a huge fan of this lady here, who does the singing and the dancing and the shaking her thing that our mama gave her. But if you do this, he pops out with his little light butt, and he'll sing and then they'll both sing together. So I don't know why she needed him to help sing. I don't quite understand how that worked. So what we can do now, because now I was going back doing this, and I was like, okay, well, maybe now it will let me use the truck. So let's tell him we want to play the shell game. Bring our remote control down. Send this off, the truck off. And he sees it, but he doesn't really pay any attention to it. So I was like, well, now I'm lost again. I don't know what to do. I was like, well, maybe you have to get all of them gone first. So this guy, if we fix that light up there, let's go ahead and hit that. As you see, it blinds him. He doesn't like that, so he goes up there and somehow turns it off up there. I don't know how that works. So at first I was trying to figure out what to do. I was like, okay, well, let's just try to play with him. He gives us a shower nozzle versus a piece of chocolate. And you cannot run out of chocolate, by the way, so that's good. So let's go ahead and press that button to get him away, which he's not very smart if he's going to play the shell game and then fly up to do this and leave these things to me. Didn't seem wise, but whatever. We'll take advantage of his stupidity there. So we got the shower nozzle. So if you talk to everything in here, this dog, or whatever this is, apparently likes to eat peg legs. So at first I just tried giving it to him, and he's like, well, I love it, but he won't do anything with it. So then I thought, okay, well, maybe we need to get the dog as a distraction somehow. So we put the leg on the truck. Now let's go ahead and play the shell game with this roly-poly. And if you guys are unfamiliar with what a roly-poly is, you should totally look it up. They are very interesting insects. So now the dog's running all over, and apparently that really scares the roly-poly for whatever reason. And we'll look under these, and nope, we know it's the last one. And you don't have to put the cut back down; it automatically does it. And I don't think you can get caught cheating. So we'll pick it, and now we've also got the coat. So we have the guy's coat. Now let's look here. Now this is one thing that confused me, because later on, right after this section, you need a battery. And for some reason, they're drinking a drink that has batteries in it. Don't ask me. They're just doing it. But if you do that, they get mad at you. At first I thought, well, if I look like them, because part of this mission is to look like the ants so that you can proceed. Because apparently they have a military lockdown in place over here. So let's go talk to this guy. We'll give him his coat. Get another animation / cinematic. If you want to call it that. I would probably not call it that. So yeah, this is all the this is how all of the speech goes in this game. Most of the time, it's pretty obvious what they're talking about. Every now and then, I'm kind of wondering what the heck they're talking about or what the picture is of. But for the most part, I can tell what they're talking about. So we need to look like the ants. So one thing, let's go ahead and put these on ourselves. So now we have the bug eyes. I guess literally in this case. And another big issue I have with this game, and again, this is an old problem with older adventure games, where a lot of times you have to do things in specific orders in order to get them to work. So I might look at a puzzle, look at all the items I have, look at what I need to do, and go, okay, I know how to do steps 2, 3, 4, and 5, but then I'll be stuck trying to figure out how the game wants me to do step 1. One great example of that is the part after this. There's a part with an electrical thing, and I won't ruin the puzzle, but long story short, it's very difficult to figure out what you're supposed to do. And I think part of it is communication issues. It's hard to tell why something is working the way it is. And I actually, after about 20 minutes, I looked it up, and luckily the person just gave a hint, and all I needed was the hint. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't realize that's how that worked. And then I immediately knew how to solve that puzzle, and then pretty much finished the stage immediately, because I knew all the other steps except that one step. Funny enough, I was just in a chat room that I visit often, and they were also playing this game, and I was like, They were like, "Oh, where you at?" And turns out they're stuck on the exact puzzle that I was stuck on, and apparently they've been doing it for like 15 minutes. So again, that doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen enough that it can be frustrating. And then once you figure it out, a lot of times it's like, well, I don't even quite understand why that worked. And again, it does kind of have the problem where I solve a puzzle where just by clicking on like all my items, you know, the whole adventure trope. It's like, well, try the radio with this. All right, I'll try the shower head with this. Try combining the shower head with the chocolate. All right, let's try combining the chocolate with the radio. The old adventure things where you just get frustrated and you try everything, and then something works, and you're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought to do that. So anyway, we can click on the litter, and as you check off more and more things that make you look like the ants, it will check them off. But it doesn't really give a good indicator of, okay, you need X number of things. It just says you have 3 of them. Well, 3 out of how many? Oh, I guess it says not equal to. I just noticed that. So the only thing we really have left is the mouthpiece, which, what do you know? Now we're looking pretty anti. So I think this will probably say all equal to now. Yep, equal to. So all right, I was wrong with that. So that is good to know. So that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to really show here. Again, this is pretty typical adventure game fare. Again, one of those things that I think you'll rethink or you'll know pretty quickly if you'll like it or not. These guys will not let you pass, by the way, unless you look like an ant. So that's basically what the purpose of all this is. So what do I not like about it? I don't like the old school problems that it has. Again, things like things have to be done in a certain way. Again, another example, earlier in the game, you're finding all these items and you have to capture all these flies. While I'm trying different things aren't working. And then I finally figure out how to capture one of them. And then when I capture one, they're like, oh, you've captured one. Well, here's another item. It's like, oh, well, I didn't know that I didn't have all the pieces. And I have to capture this one fly specifically first, this specific way. I would much rather it be a case of give me all or most of the items that I need to solve the puzzle. And then I use it to grab the various things. Like, again, in that case, I had to capture like 5 flies. So give me all the items and let me figure out how to use what where. Don't go, okay, well, you have to do these specific things to get this specific fly first, and then you get a random item that you would use to catch the second fly. Then after that, you get another random item, get the third fly. So I really did not like that aspect. I don't like that in an adventure game. I like to just be in like, here's the puzzle, here's some items, figure it out. You can usually do it in any way that you want to do it. So again, that's very old adventure game. So if you're cool with that kind of thing, if you're used to that's just how adventure games work or worked, then that's probably not going to be an issue for you. Let's see, what was the other thing that I didn't like? Oh, the screen turning. I don't get motion sickness, but I will say every now and then when I was having to turn a lot, and sorry, I'm doing that now in case it's making somebody nauseous. I actually was kind of like, whoa, okay, I need to slow down. And that's saying a lot because I'm not the type who gets motion sickness very easily. So definitely be aware of that. If you get motion sickness easily, again, shouldn't happen too much, but parts, again, where you're in like a small vent, or if you're still trying to learn the layout of a new area, it can be kind of frustrating. The art style, let's talk about what I like. I like the art style. I like the comic books type style. I like to call it the Walking Dead type, because whenever I see this particular style, I just think the Walking Dead game, of course. The music and the quote-unquote dialogue is interesting / amusing for the most part. Again, the cockroaches talking back and forth sometimes can be a bit irritating, but doesn't happen a lot, and it's not really that bad. The puzzles for the most part are pretty fun. Again, there are those ones you run into that you just get stuck on, and at least so far, frequently I felt more like, oh god, that was the solution, rather than, oh, I didn't think of that. Which, again, in itself is frustrating. But again, the problems you run into with this type of game, especially when it's a linear puzzle solving, is you get stuck on one little piece of that puzzle, but then once you finish that, all the other pieces fall into place, which is, both kind of a positive and a negative. Mostly a negative, though. But yeah, definitely check this out. Again, it's called Journey of a Roach. It is $15 on Steam. It is available now, again, on PC and Mac. Again, overall, I would say check it out. If you are a big adventure game fan, again, if you've played adventure games for a long time, or if you like the old school adventure games, definitely check this out. If you're okay with adventure games, but you prefer newer adventure games without a lot of the old hangups that some of them had, you might want to wait on this one. $15 is not bad regardless. But again, if you have little patience for that, you might want to wait for it to go on sale. I still think it's a very interesting game. And despite being frustrated with some of the puzzles, I do think I have had fun with it. In fact, I kept being compelled to get further and further. I had to stop myself to go back and make this video. So thank you guys for watching. Leave comments, like my videos if you like them. Subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this, and I will see you next time.